This conference will now be recorded.
As always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we got a few things that are moving out there right now. It's been a little bit of a slow afternoon. This morning was absolutely phenomenal. It went to exactly what we talked about with the personality that we've been seeing within the market. Just a lot of slow, controlled moves. I don't want to say clockwork because it hasn't been exactly like that. There's definitely a little bit more that's went into it, but they really have not tried to make it hard. And when I say that, I mean there's not a ton of things that are moving at the same time. Pretty much it's given you the opportunity to get into almost every single trade at some point, even if you were in something previously. So that's just the personality we've seen since basically after Labor Day. It's not that, that chaotic cheap stocks, really starting to run. Everything's just really been controlled, which is almost like that calm before the storm. So just something to think about. But first of all, let's talk about CRDF. So I want to talk about something for a second. As you saw, as this was pushing up to 10 the first time, we saw a huge amount of selling coming off. And that was because somebody expected it to go down. All right, obviously. So there was two situations. Now the stock could actually just tank because it's coming up to 10. It could hit, not hit that 10, and we could end up getting a trigger back down and really see that big bar that comes into it. Or what was going to happen is that we're going to bring it back up above that 10 level in order to steal shares. But I want you guys to look at something real quick. All right, so the first time as we were coming up, and it's going to let me, you can see here, look at this selling, 980, 975, all way above what the print personality was all the way down here, besides 950, which it has not pulled back from yet, which is going to be an important factor that we're going to talk about in a second. Okay, you can see somebody really did want to get out of a portion of their position. So that would have made sense for the first part and to come down and really make that move towards the downside. But then as we come back up to the 10, you can see we start getting buying that actually comes into it. And where are we? You can still see the selling. So I'm telling you, we're going to get a big bar down, just in case it happens before I finish. All right, so right here. So you can see the 10 actually comes in to start showing us that they are looking to make more money coming up towards that upside. And we didn't really get much of a pullback at all from that 10 level. And as we're coming up, you can see it starts to fade off. We start to see that 1020, that 1015. All right, 1050, yes, there's ask prints there. It is showing a little bit more buying, which tells us there's a little bit more room. But overall, this stock is going to have a hard time staying above this 10 and coming up to 950. Now, I know I got almost instantly approved for shares. If you don't have them, make sure right this second that you go out there and get them, because you can see the buying that's coming in is just not substantial enough. It's not based off the volume. The prints just aren't there. And it's not parabolic. Just because the stock is on an uptrend does not make it parabolic, because you can see there's a lot of big, I don't want to call it consolidated trading because it's not really consolidated, but you can see how the bars are really overlapping themselves. So we definitely have buying to go up higher, but what's going to happen is we're going to see that hit. And first of all, our price target has to be below 950. So getting into this trade right now, let's say we come to 1025 and then we get a trigger to the upside. Is that a high percentage trade? The answer is no. Because right now it's almost like a ticking time bomb. And what's going to happen is we're going to start to see that selling come in, and we're going to see a little bit of buying. Once again, buying is the most important thing at those highs, but we're going to start to see a little bit of buying. We're going to get that move, and then that bar that comes in and really crushes people. So even though this looks so pretty and there was some buying that came into it, not nearly enough to take out of this pattern, on top of the fact that 10 is one of the hardest psychological levels to actually hold. So I'm not saying, do I think this is done yet? No, I still think it actually might have a little bit more room towards the upside, but on a trigger down, I don't care what number it's at, that's what I'm going to be looking for, because at this moment, there's just not enough there. And yes, it needs to pull back below 1050, but we can see that it pulled back the 50-cent amount that we'd be looking for, but it's very, very quick. And that just goes to show, based off the volume average, we're seeing our volume average of 444,000 shares trading per minute. So a breakout in this is literally, in my opinion, it's just leading people in, because that 950, this spot right here, so this looks like a support level. I can't trust that support level. I really hope this doesn't happen before I finish. Whatever. All right, so that's what my read is on our CRDF. Now, play is very interesting because basically everything's in the chat. I don't really need to go over that much. You're not going to be able to see my prints because it's up on a different screen, and there's not much that it's going to let me go back from. But when we talk about shorting versus selling, essentially the same thing needs to happen. The stock needs to go down. But if someone shorts, that means a little bit of a difference compared to somebody that's selling. Because when you sell, guess what? You're out of a position. So there's not really anything that needs to happen. It could go sideways for the rest of your life. If you short, that means the stock actually needs to go down in order for you to be able to make money. So when we see something like that where it pops up above that 1425 level and then comes back underneath and sells that much, that tells us it basically, it broke a level that they were waiting for. So I don't see much more room left in this, and I really want to see our reaction here. 1405, pretty decent. 14 coming in, okay. They're definitely shorter term based off of what the print personality of what we've seen. Is very small. So, but they still kind of show off as shorter term based off of what we saw from before. So the fact of it being able to come down to this 13, all we need is some good selling to come into here. And there's no reason it can't come back down to basically our double bottom here at 13. There we go. Now, unfortunately, that just, kind of screwed our time frame up a little bit, but it just goes to show exactly what we were talking about. 150,000 shares right here. Yeah, it showed up on the ass. Doesn't matter. All right, that's obviously longer term, doesn't mean much, but you can see that person that just came in at 14 is basically confirming what our read was and what we talked about coming into that chat. So I'm still, even though it's going to have to pull up a little bit now based off of what we saw, those pull-ups, remember, a move up like this gets people interested. It's going to go back up, but that's not really what the case is going to be. That move up is really to unload on people. So that's exactly what we're going to be wanting to look for in that situation. And other than that, DKNG, remember, it had some really nice ask prints that came in at this 54 level. I'm going to put this on our list, even though it's something that we kind of almost watch every single day now, but there's some really nice ask prints that are here at 54. So basically what that's telling us is that there's really more room towards that upside. Now, 621, okay, based off our range, usually trades about $3. Is the volume double? Not really. So does it need to go above 54 today? Not so much, and 54.32 being the high, that's really where it would need to go in order to add towards that range. But does it really? Not really. So it's not a great puzzle based off of what we have out there, but we do know where the buying is. So it's another thing that I do want to keep a close eye on as we go into things. VXRT just played out perfectly this morning. I'm still watching this because there's no reason in the world we couldn't see out of nowhere bars come up to 1 million and really start pushing this out. I don't think it's done trading for the day. You can see the amount of volume that's came in. I mean, this is just, it's very high compared to what we typically see that stock in. So even though it's doing absolutely nothing right now, it's another stock that needs to be on our list because let's make sure we're paying attention. If we see that volume personality start to change, this thing has the ability to really go. There's a lot of great stuff that's up above. I don't even care if you don't know what's in your notes. Obviously 9, we had some, some nice buy, we had some nice buying, a lot of the, but anywhere above here on a trigger is going to give us a high percentage. Just make sure. A lot of people get caught up where it's not trading, all of a sudden it starts trading. You get, this bar that comes 1.3 million, and then it has a very hard time sustaining. So just don't make sure you don't get caught up in that. Make sure you get that follow through. There's so much room that you're able to kind of wait a little bit longer for more confirmation to show you that that follow through is going to come in. So just another thing for us to be looking at. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there that I missed? I think that is going to be it. All right, so let's get ready for this afternoon. Yesterday afternoon was absolutely phenomenal. So let's hope that we continue to get that volume that comes back in there. I'm still seeing a bunch of selling that's coming into the CDRF. So definitely make sure that you're ready for that. Remember, 10 is just such a hard level to hold. Other than that, guys, I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.